ones will want you. Some will stay, some will go. Always remember, ones will want you. Some will stay, some will go.
Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning. Yes. Why is it that way? Because I choose it to be so. Remember, you've been given the power to give meaning to that which is fundamentally meaningless. Everything just is. And with this power, of being able to give meaning to that which is fundamentally meaningless, we're able to lead ourselves onto a frequency, a vibratory state. And it's that frequency that's the attractive force in your life. Now, think about that. You have that in you, which is why I'm constantly reminding you of this with all these calls that we have here in Master Your Mind and everything that we do here at Ella Vitality. So you're a thinking center, you're an individual, you have individuality, which is what we're going to be diving into in the book we're studying right now. But again, really grab onto that. You can choose, you can accept, reject ideas. You don't have to consent to things as they are. You don't have to agree to what's happening. You can use your imagination to see things differently for yourself. And what's beautiful is if you're loyal to that unseen reality, you know what will start taking place? Whatever that is. That's how everything's created. Bob Proctor would say this frequently. Everything starts in the mind. And it's with mind that you change your outcomes. Beautiful. All right, so we've been diving into studying the Master Key System. This is an incredible book by Charles Haanel, and if you don't have it, get it on Amazon because it's really, really awesome. And then also, if you do have it, make sure that you're underlining it, you're marking it up beautifully, you're using it. And if you'll do that, oh my gosh, you'll see changes in your life as well. Now, before we proceed, make sure you have your goal card with you. If you don't have a goal card, you can reach out to us. We can share with you how to get them. We have them. They're really awesome. They're really good. And they work when they're used with intention. Bob Proctor would say this frequently. If you write it on a card, it must happen. Now, keep in mind, he was saying that from the assumption that you are one with it, that you're part of it, that it's part of you. And this I can say to you is if you do lock into it, it will start taking shape in your outer world, just as how Neville Goddard shared that within his teachings. He says, if you're observant, that's provided you are in harmony with whatever it is that you've written down, you will begin to see outer reality taking shape upon the model of your imagination. All right. So with that being said, let's dive into where we are in this amazing book. All right, here we go. Individuality. And if you have the book, remember we're on page 18 on this version of the book, okay? Page 18. So individuality is the power to unfold our own latent possibilities, to be a law unto ourselves, to be interested in the race rather than the goal. Strong men care nothing for the flock of imitators who trot complacency behind them. They derive no satisfaction in the mere leading of large numbers or plaudits of the mob. This pleases only petty natures and inferior minds, individuality glories more in the unfolding of the power within than the servility of the weakling. Now, there's a lot to digest in this paragraph. And what I really want you to grab onto again is this word that he's using here in terms of individuality. Remember, you are a thinking center. You write that in your notes. I am a thinking center. And in terms of that thinking center, as shared by Genevieve Berend, who was coached and mentored by Thomas Troward, this thinking center that you are is always for expansion and fuller expression. In other words, you have this eternal dissatisfaction in you. Now, with that, if you tap into it and use it, you will be able to access this incredible power that's in you. Now, again, really grab onto that. What I'm saying to you is if you think, because most people don't think, we were talking about this morning in our wonderful facilitation call for thinking into results. And by the way, those of you who are seeking assistance to implement this information, oh my gosh, you got to get into that because it's incredible. It's absolutely amazing. But with that being said, again, this power is in you. Okay, individuality is the power to unfold our latent possibilities. And I love this one specific phrase here, to be a law unto ourselves. To be interested in the race rather than the goal. Now, here, I want you to tie into this, to be a law unto ourselves. See, you must remember and also use what I'm sharing with you when it comes to understanding that as within, so without is a principle. It's a principle, and a principle works metaphysically, and it also works when it comes to physics itself in one area as it does in all areas. So when I, for instance, say, like attracts like in the mind, and that's a true statement, and I recommend that you write that in your notes. You can even write it next to this in the book. Like attracts in the mind, like attracts like in the mind. See, like attracts like is it's a principle that applies also to external things. That's important for you to get. Everything produces after its kind. Now, why is this important? Well, because you're seeking to make a big change in your life. Maybe you've written down on your goal card something amazing, incredible that you haven't done before. With this being said, if you want to attract into your life what's in harmony with this, first you've got to start with it in your mind, which is why it's important for you to write this. And then when you're on that frequency, you'll start coming up with ideas. And then also because you are on that vibratory state, that frequency, other people who are in harmony with that will actually start coming to you. Now, what does that have to do with this, to be a law unto ourselves? Well, because you are an individual that has this beautiful, amazing power to think whatever you want to think. And remember, thought externalizes itself. You can shift that automatic narrative inside of you, what you believe to be true. And that right there is the law from which you operate. But if you do shift that, you'll start to realize this power that he's pointing out. Now, again, individuality, you being a thinking center, you having your miniverse, which is part of the universe, is the power to unfold our own latent possibilities, to be a law unto ourselves, and to be able to shift our attention, which is the next part of this. Now, for you, if you want to be really strong, and I'm certain that that's the case because you wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case, which means you are strong. Here again, he's pointing out strong men, strong women care nothing for what the masses do. Write this in your notes. The masses have been historically wrong. The masses have been historically wrong. Most people, for instance, think from this phrase of, oh, you just got to think with common sense. Now, one of the most beautiful books that deals with tapping into your individuality and going to where the masses don't go are these incredible books here from Price Pritchett, U Squared and the Quantum Leap Strategy. Now, here within the Quantum Leap Strategy, and also within U Squared, he talks about how what I just talked about to you about of how the masses have been historically wrong. See, most people, they just follow the follower. They think they're following the leader, but they're really not. They're playing the game of follow the follower, because most people don't understand that most people who are maneuvering through life are just trying to figure it out themselves. But with that being said, if you continue with the thoughts of the masses, the thoughts of the flock of the imitators who trot complacency behind them, who are just doing things because everybody else is doing it, then unfortunately what's going to happen in your life is you're going to deliver more of what they are delivering, which is more of the same, which is more of what you don't want, which is more of what they don't want. Now, again, really think about this. The masses have been historically wrong. If you want to make a significant shift in your life, you're going to have to start to create your own path. You're going to have to shift from following how other people think, which is from what they see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, and to instead engage within what's in your mind, of which you have these beautiful higher mental faculties, your imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, and intuition. Now, that's another thing that we dove in deeply and beautifully within our facilitations in thinking the results. And it was absolutely amazing, incredible. You hear me talk about this here. You'll hear me talk about this in everything that I talk about on TikTok, YouTube, wherever that is. With this being said, though, again, the power that you seek is going to come from you tapping into the power in you. So again, strong men, strong women care nothing about what the masses do. They don't give a shit about what other people think about them. And that's another subject too, by the way, that needs to be tapped into. What other people think about you is none of your business. The only opinion of you that matters is yours. See, people who are strong, they've rid themselves of the opinion of others as being important, and instead lock into a beautiful perception of themselves to the point of where that develops courage, faith, confidence, which then leads them to act on things that they wouldn't normally do. Now, again, really tie into what I'm sharing here with you. This is what's got to be in you. Care nothing. You got to care nothing about what the flock of imitators do or think, who act with complacency, who try to keep things as they are. That's ambivalence. And then you got to also shift to this. They derive no satisfaction in the mere leading of large numbers or plaudits of the mob. In other words, they are always thinking from something superior, not thinking that they are superior to others, but that they are constantly seeking to massively improve their lives. Why? Because they can, and they believe that they can. Now, again, this can be you if you'll use and apply what we're talking about here. Now, here he goes even further. Individuality is a real power inherent in all, and the development and the consequent expressions of this power enables one to assume the responsibility of directing his own footsteps rather than stampeding after some self-assertive bellwether. Now, here he's pointing out you. You have this in you. You are an individual. You can think whatever you want. You are a thinking center. And what he's pointing out is that you have this inherent power, the same way that I do, the same way that everyone else does. It's not a matter of whether or not you have it. It's a matter of whether or not you're going to use it. Now, I can think about that. You can develop it. You can make it so that it's something that is helping you to get you where you want to go. But again, as a reminder, what has to happen in you? You have to use it. You have to practice thinking. You have to practice consciously engaging with the images that are in harmony with how you would love things to be. This is why the goal card is so important. This is why writing your affirmations down are so important. This is why being in the right environment is so important. This is why studying and applying this information is so important, because it leads to a power that's lying in you to awaken it so that you can make the change that you seek in your life. So again, really tap into this. Individuality is a real power inherent in you, inherent in me, in all of us. And the development and consequent expression of this power, whatever that may be, whatever it is, enables one, it will enable you, provided you use it, to assume the responsibility of directing your own footsteps rather than what the masses are doing, which is really not thinking at all. And that's another thing to really grab onto, because most people do not think. Most people mistake mental activity as thinking. It's not thinking. Mental activity is literally that. See, thinking is something that's very difficult to do consciously for a sustained period of time. And Wallace Wattles talks about this. You heard me say this to you many, many times. There's nothing that shrinks the minds of more men and women than that of sustained and consecutive thought. It's the hardest work in the world. With this being said, when you do that and when you rehearse it, you will have power, and incredible power, which will then lead to you being able to get whatever you want. But now I want you to notice where the theme is here in this. And that theme, again, is in what's happening inside. Remember, as within, so without. That's sowing and reaping. That's cause and effect. If you want to change what you're reaping, if you want to change the effect, if you want to change the outside, guess what you've got to change first? You've got to change what's happening on the inside. Okay. Now that's in you. Now, truth is the imperative condition of all well-being. Now, here he's not talking about what you believe. What he's talking about is principle. Okay, truth, principle. Remember, when you believe something, it's not the truth. Why? Because you don't have all the information. But with this being said, when you believe something, it's your truth. Now, here he's pointing out truth as a principle. And when you have the truth and you understand it, it will lead to your well-being. It will lead to the outcomes that you seek. It will lead to how you would love things to be becoming a material fact. Now, to be sure, to know the truth and to stand confidently on it is a satisfaction beside which no other is comparable. So what he's really talking about is that deep knowing, which is an understanding of it, that when you have that, first of all, it's something that you really can't explain. Why? Because you could just feel it. But with that being said, when you have it, it will help you to do things that you never thought possible. You'll be able to, for you to do things that you thought were never possible, I should say. This reminds me of something that Tony Robbins shares frequently that will help to lead you to be able to think like this. And that question is what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And that's a really great question for you to write in your notes right now. What would I do if I knew I could not fail? If I understood that failure was something that I can grow through, but that can help me to get me to where I want to go. If I understood and knew that impossible was nothing more than an opinion. See, that's a vibratory state. And here again, he's pointing this out, that if you will tap into this and understand this, then, oh my gosh, you'll be able to deliver incredible outcomes. So again, let's go over this again. Truth is the imperative condition of all well-being. To be sure to know the truth and to stand confidently on it is a satisfaction beside which no other is comparable. Truth is the underlying verity, the condition precedent to every business or social relation. Truth is the only solid ground in a world of conflict, doubt, and danger. Now, again, grab onto what he's talking about here. He's talking about the power in you and understanding the truth of who you are and how your marvelous, miraculous, incredible power of mind works, which works according to law. That's what we share here. Everything that we talk about is here and that we teach you is all about helping you to understand that truth. Because most of us, we consent to a belief that we're not strong enough, that we're not good enough. We really don't understand who we are. I mean, think about the statements that we say that are tied to why we aren't able to get to where we want to go. We say things like this: I'm stopping me, I'm in the way, or that I'm self-sabotaging. Now, with regards to those things, those are beliefs, but it's not the truth when it comes to what's in the way of you delivering the results that you would love to deliver. Again, really tap into this when you understand who you truly are, which is a magnificent, wonderful, creative being. You have this ability to think whatever you want to think. Nobody can force you to think the thoughts you think. You have this eternal dissatisfaction in you that propels you to expand and to express your thinking center, always for that expansion and fuller expression. And you have an imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, intuition. See, the truth of who you are is that you're not a human being. You're not a body with a spirit. You're a spirit with a body. You are a magnificent creative being with incredible powers. See, that is the truth. Now think about this when it comes down to what he's talking about here. When you understand this, when you know this truth, you will be led to an incredible sense of well-being inside. You'll accomplish more than you've ever accomplished before, than you've ever thought possible for you. Now, again, really grab onto what I'm saying here, because here I'm sharing with you the truth of who you are, and that if you'll just tap into it, you'll make big changes in your life. This reminds me of something that Sandy Gallagher shared frequently. Sandy Gallagher, Bob Proctor's business partner. And she pointed out this: it's not who you are that holds you back, it's who you think you're not that does. Now think about that. It's not who you are that holds you back. And again, a lot of us say that I'm stopping me, I'm in the way, which is a bunch of BS. Yeah, it does mean bullshit, but what that really is what that really means is belief system in reference with what I'm sharing with you. But really think about that. It's not who you are that holds you back, it's who you think you're not that does. Now, that right there is a profound truth. It's a principle. Why? Because that statement refers to the essence of who you are, which is an incredible, magnificent, creative being, which is always for expansion and fuller expression, of which would never, ever hinder you or stop you from moving forward or growing, which then leads to you seeing, if you've tapped into what I've shared with you, that it's what you believe to be true that's in the way. And by the way, what you believe to be true is not you. That's just what you've agreed to. And that's what's embedded within you subconsciously. Now think about that and understanding that truth. And remember, we're not talking about belief. We're talking about something that's foundational. We're talking about a principle. And again, what does he say here with regards to the truth? It leads to well-being. It's an imperative condition of well-being. And what's beautiful with this on top of that is if you'll apply and use what I'm sharing with you in your life practically, and that's what that means when I say apply, you're using it as you're maneuvering through life. You're not just thinking in terms of, oh, I remember what Troy said or what was written in the book. No, oh, I remember what Troy said or what Charles Haanel said, and I'm going to use this in my life. I'm going to actually shift the narrative inside. See, that's when you'll gain that understanding, which then will lead to that well-being that you seek. Now, here he goes further. Every act not in harmony with truth whether through ignorance or design, cuts the ground from under our feet, leads to discord, inevitably loss and confusion. For while the humblest mind can accurately foretell the result of every correct action, the greatest, most profound, and penetrating mind loses its way hopelessly and can form no conception of the results due to the departure from correct principles. Now, that is a mouthful there with what was just shared. With this being said, what he's saying is that those who are in harmony with the true essence of how things are created, in other words, they understand that we always go from the thought to the idea to the thing, that thought externalizes itself. Those who live their lives thinking that way inevitably overcome all the obstacles that they run into. And that the people who don't think that way, who think from the outside in, they always end up delivering the same results again, 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 again. And that's what I call hell. Now, how do I know this? Because I used to live in that place. See, but within me, I'm living my life with regards to like always move forward, always expand, always deliver something different. Now, does that mean that I don't run into challenges that are in my life? No, I run into them just like you do. But what I do with it instead is I look at it as, okay, what can I learn from this? I ask really great questions. But anyways, what does that have to do with this? Well, when I think that way, I'm acting in harmony with truth. Think about this, like when a circumstance, a condition, a result happens, are you emotionally involved with that? Are you tied into it to the point of where that's all you think about, which then leads you to not feel really good? See, what's happening when you do that is you're fighting the existing reality. You are not acting in harmony with the truth of who you are. See, remember, your results, whatever they are, whatever's happening, is the externalization of previous thought. And when you understand the truth that thought externalizes itself, that you become what you think about most of the time, and you act in harmony with that principle, then what starts to change is the feeling of hopelessness. It starts to go away. The feeling of victimhood, it goes away. Why? Because now you're acting in harmony with your true nature, which is that you're a creator, because you've locked into the idea and the truth that you can externalize whatever you want by being loyal to that unseen reality. Now, again, grab onto this. He's talking about principles, how the principles, they enforce themselves regardless of whether or not you're knowledgeable or ignorant of them. And he points this out. I mean, look at this. Every act not in harmony with the truth, whether through ignorance or design. Now, again, my reminder for you is that these laws, these principles, they always get enforced regardless of whether or not you know about them. Now, here we're helping you to know them, to get some kind of awareness of them, so that you can gain a deeper awareness of them by using them. And again, that's where the game is. It's application, baby, is what Austin Powers would say in his way of talking. Okay. All right. So now, those who establish within themselves the requisite elements of true success have established confidence, organized victory, and it only remains for them to take such steps from time to time as the newly awakened thought force will direct, and herein rests the magical secret of all power. And what is it? Less than 10% of our mental processes is conscious. The number is actually a lot smaller than that. Through my study of everything within me and working with other people, the number is actually like more like 1 to 2% in terms of conscious thought. I actually think it's even a lot less than that. With this being said, the point is that most of our conscious thought is very small. And the other remaining part of it, in this case, the other 90% is subconscious and unconscious, so that he would depend on his conscious thought alone for the results as less than efficient, 10% efficient. Those who are accomplishing anything worthwhile are those who are enabled to take advantage of this greater storehouse of mental wealth. Think about this. The solution to your problems lies in you changing what's automatic in you. That's where the answer lies. And here he's pointing out is the ones who are highly successful, they get this. What they have done is they've created powerful thought patterns, powerful habits, powerful beliefs, of which then lead them to do things automatically. See, all the conscious thought in the world is not going to deliver the outcomes you seek. It's through a deliberate conscious effort to change the paradigm that is what's going to deliver the outcomes you seek. This is why I'm so repetitive in every single one of these calls. This is why you hear me say these things over and over and over again. And by the way, I do that intentionally. You know why? Because I understand the principle. Some people have come into these calls always saying the same thing again. Yes, duh, yes, I am. You know why? Because I understand how it works. Now, again, grab onto this. Those who are accomplishing anything worthwhile are those who are enabled to take advantage of this greater storehouse of mental wealth. It is the vast domain of the subconscious mind, and the great truths are hidden. That great truths are hidden, and it is here that thought finds its creative power, its power to correlate with its object, to bring out the unseen, out of the unseen, the seen, to take from the no thing and turn it into something. Now, we're going to dive deeper into this tomorrow because this part here is so important. With that being said, that's the most exciting thing that I love to share about, I should say, of all the things that I share with you. Think about this. You have within you something that enables you to live your life effortlessly. Think of habits, for instance. Habits are incredible. Most people don't understand how amazing they are. Habits are God's gift to you to make your life easy. You have that in you. And in terms of that gift, in terms of that effortlessness, though, there's a caveat there. That effortlessness can be for positive the same way that it can be for negative. The point is that it can change if you don't like it. Now, think about that. Habits are God's gift to you to make your life easy. See, the issue is not about whether or not habits are great. They are fantastic. The issue is that we have bad habits. Okay? We have habits that are not in harmony with how we would love things to be. And with that being said, see, that's what he's pointing out, and that's what we want you to see in you. Don't concern yourself with the outcomes that are happening right now. They're nothing more than the expressions of the habits that you have, the thoughts that you've been thinking, and the beliefs that you have. Remember, all of that's been planted in you subconsciously, and what's been planted there can be removed. It can be replaced. See, seed, plant, blossom, fruit. So make sure that you're using this and planting new seeds if you don't like what you're reaping. And then from there, don't concern yourself with reaping at all. Just sow. Remember, your only job is to sow. So sow. Amazing. Wasn't this cool? Such a great call. Amazing call. Awesome call. All right. So before I close, there's also something else that we want you to tap into as well. We have another Majestic Mastery happening on December 14th. You're not going to want to miss it. It's tied into manifesting miracles. So make sure that you register for that. It's going to be absolutely amazing and awesome. We would love to see you there. And you'll be receiving some emails and also some links within the group for you to be able to attend. So act on that because it's going to be awesome, and also invite people. Okay. It's going to be really, really great. So with that being said, if you can all go ahead and unmute and share the magnificent golden rule. What's that rule, my friends?
Application.
Application. Right.
We love you.
Application.
You've got to use it. If you don't use it,
You
you're not
lose
going to
it.
receive the change. That's right. So use it, my friends. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Good night.